You're listening to Sweep the League.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
What is up, everybody? It is Manic Monday. It is Sweep the League. Rudy Koppelschen. You're going to be joined by Derek Gervin. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. For whatever reason, only Gio's Twitter is working tonight. So if you're looking for us on Twitter, be sure to check Coach Gio. It's at Coach Gio, double O at the end, COACHGIOO. Twitter, like I said, I got to hook up the Twitter again, the X part for Sweep the League, because for whatever reason it's not working tonight. So you can find us on YouTube. Just go to YouTube at Sweep the League TV. Now we are on Twitch. All you have to do is go to Twitch, and you can just search Sweep the League on Twitch. So we're broadcasting live on Twitch right now as we speak. So again, appreciate the new people coming on the Twitch feed as well. So again, the best place to reach us is at YouTube at Sweep the League TV on YouTube. Rudy Koppelschen, you're going to be joined by Derek Gervin. Super League Manic Monday brought to you by MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea, Castro and Sons Solar, and La Cocina Taco Truck. Plus, shout out to a good friend of ours, Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs podcast. I'll hopefully be on this week with Jeff at some point. I'll be on next week. We got a lot to get into tonight. For whatever reason, like I said, the Twitter feed, if you're trying to look for us on Twitter, go to Coach Gio's. It's going to be at Coach Gio, double O at the end. I'm going to share that to my stream as well. That way you guys can be sure to get on that. Let me bring in Derek Gervin himself, Hall of Famer Derek Gervin. Derek, how you doing, man? How was your weekend?
Hey, my weekend was great, Rudy. I'm preparing for this. You see, I'm wearing a boxing shirt tonight. I'm preparing myself for this coming weekend. Mr. Madrimov versus Terrence Crawford. So everything's going well.
Oh, you know what? For the boxing, we'll just cover that on Friday. We'll get some insight on some boxing. So we get a boxing guy on the show as well. That way we can get some insight on the boxing coming up this weekend, man. You know what's kind of crazy is this coming Monday, a week from now, I get a year older, and I don't like birthdays, Derek. I hate birthdays. I hate getting old. I don't know why.
Well, look at it the other way. There's a lot of people who wish some members of their family could have grown a little older. So every day is a blessing, and the older you get, man, hey, the better it is. I want to live till I'm 100. I still have 39 years to go, so I hope the Lord blesses me to have 39 more years. You know, I stop and think sometimes, like, when, you know, at what point do I just say, golly, okay, I think I'm good now. I think I'm good, and that's kind of a crazy thought for me to have. But, you know, every time around birthday time, I start thinking, man, I don't celebrate it. I don't think I haven't celebrated my birthday in probably 10 years. Every year, I just another day for me. That's really all it is for me. It's just another day. Well, I mean, everybody have different feelings about it. I'm happy every time my birthday come. I was treated last year for my birthday by John Robertson, Andre Robertson's dad, and I didn't really want to do anything. But when he got through talking to me about how important every birthday is, man, I have a different outlook now. So I appreciate John, and I just see it a little differently today. Just thankful for every day, but I'm also thankful for every birthday or anniversary, as some people call it. Yeah, you know, I think one thing that's different for me this year going into my birthday is we moved into our brand new home. So I think this year I told my wife, I said, I think I want to celebrate something for my birthday this year, probably at home or something. Maybe just, finally. I did promise one thing, Derek, don't get mad at me, but I told her I'd eat a piece of cake for my birthday. This will be the first time in like 5 years since I've had a cake. I had a cake for my birthday in March, Rudy, and a big cake, and had my name on it and everything, my age. It didn't last very long, the cake, but I appreciate the gesture. Yeah, I've been working out all week, and actually last week too, to drop as much weight as I can before Monday. So when I eat the cake, I don't feel too guilty about it. So we'll see how that goes. Should I have a piece of cake or a piece of pie? That's what I used to love eating pie. You worry because you said you put on 15 pounds, but you know how to work it off, man. You're a disciplined guy, so you can treat yourself on one day, and then you get back to your routine.
I'll do that, man. We got to get back to a routine here on Sweep the League. Again, it is Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr. So, the weekend started with the Olympics, and we're going to get into some Olympic talk, specifically basketball, men's Team USA basketball, also CeeDee Lamb. Now, there were some reports coming out about CeeDee and the Cowboys being close to maybe a 4-year deal. Of course, the reports are false, so we're going to get into a little bit of that, only because I like the numbers that they were talking about. You were looking at possibly like $34 million a year, I believe. So,
boy,
that's the problem. Is at what point is a good contract, and also does that kind of leave, room for Dak and Micah? We want to get into all that, So we're definitely going to get into all that here on Sweep the League. The first thing is go to our YouTube page. Go to YouTube, search @Sweep the League TV. Be a subscriber. When we get to 200, we're going to give away something else. But also, when we get to $1,000, Derek, we want to open up the vault. We're trying to tell everybody, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're going to open up the vault. We're going to give away some cold, hard cash. Also, a new thing here. Not only is it YouTube, go to our TikTok page. We've got a TikTok page. We can get to 1,000 subscribers on TikTok. We're going to open up the vault on there as well. The cool thing about it is it's free. You don't have to pay anything just to be a subscriber on both TikTok and a subscriber on YouTube. So it's all free, and you win a lot of free stuff as well. So be sure to go ahead and do that for us here at Sweep the League. So the first segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting, always laying the foundation. They're perfect at what they do. They're the best at what they do. Contact MCS General Contracting. A good foundation is the start to a great life. They are definitely going to take care of you, proud sponsors of Sweep the League. We owe them everything. We're humbled to have them on. Thank you, Joel Colon on here. Little Mac I saw was on here tonight with us. Also, Tim Gonzalez, Jacob Eric, Chris Gonzalez. Man, everybody's joining us tonight. We appreciate everybody joining on here. Again, we're going to start off with some Olympic talk here. So this segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting. Team USA, Derek, I remember when it was like 10-2 Serbia at the beginning. We saw Serbia came up hot, and we kind of both figured that towards the end of I figured towards the second half. I thought it was going to be close all the way through to the second half, but it wasn't. Team USA actually blew them out. Serbia played well, but again, they don't have the firepower that a lot of the other teams do in the Olympics. You have Joker. You have Jovic as well. You've got some players for Serbia, but let's be real. It's not Canada. It's not Australia. It's not any of the other teams, but what did you see out of the Olympic team from Team USA? The only thing that I really saw was the addition, obviously, of Durant made the absolute biggest difference for Team USA. But I really think without Durant, the game would have been closer than what it was. Kevin Durant took him on the shoulders, took Team USA to a victory here. But what did you see that stood out for you for Team USA against Serbia heading into the next game against South Sudan?
Well, if you remember, I wrote last week, actually on the 22nd of July, that I thought the USA should replace Embiid with Anthony Davis because we have to get off to a better start.
Yeah.
And as you saw, we didn't get off to a good start. We're down 10-2 in the first 3 minutes, and then Kerr goes to the substitution, and he brings in Anthony Davis. And when he brought in AD, that brought some energy to the team. They started getting in a little better rhythm. And then he brought in the guy that gets compared to my brother, man. When you're talking about putting that ball in the basket. Kevin, you know who I am. I'm Kevin Durant. And when they brought in KD, it just changed the game mentally. It would change the game right away, Rudy. And KD is made for these moments. We've seen him do it over and over. He's the all-time leading scorer for the Americans in the Olympics. And he came out and, he got 21 points, and I believe he did it in 9 minutes. Yeah. And, it changed the whole complexion of the game.
Yeah, it did. The Kevin Durant showed, he showed the reason why he needs to be on the team. And I don't know if this was the reason why it affected another player from playing. And we're not mentioning Tyrese Halliburton. For whatever reason, Halliburton just isn't going to get any run on this Olympic squad, which I don't understand. It's beneficial for him to play against some of these other teams, especially against a team probably like Canada, like Australia, some of these teams. I expect him. But also the team coming up in South Sudan, they're going to need some quickness, and Halliburton brings that to the table. So I'm thinking hopefully Kerr understands that he's going to have to possibly play Tyrese in some of these games, but the two guys that didn't get any run, Tyrese Halliburton and surprisingly Jason Tatum. There was rumors at the end of the game that he was possibly sick, that he wasn't feeling good. That was all thrown away. That was thrown out the window. Tatum was completely fine. Then you had Kerr come out and basically say, well, yeah, I probably should have played him a little bit. What was the whole thought process about Kerr not playing? I understand Durant came in and was dominating, but there's no reason why Tatum should have not got any minutes at all.
Steve Kerr doing Steve Kerr things, and then, give us the political talk afterwards about how he felt like an idiot and, talking that crap. Yeah. But I'm sure that didn't soothe Jason Tatum's feelings. And it bothers me because in 2020, Tatum was all in. He chose to play for his country. He was the second best player on that team behind Kevin Durant. The man averaged 15 points a game on 49% shooting. And then they win the championship this year. His third year in a row making first team All-NBA. Only American to make first team All-NBA. And you sit him down, don't even play the man a minute. And it really bothered me at the end because Kerr's letting LeBron stay in there and pad his stats. In a 26-point game, we're up at the end, and you couldn't find time for Kerr or for Halliburton or Tatum. I just think it was total disrespect. I didn't like it at all, and I hope he does better the next game because we're going to need Jason Tatum, and at some point we're going to need Tyrese Halliburton, but you got to keep them in it mentally. I know the fans say, oh, you're supposed to stay ready and this and that, but you don't understand unless you've been there. And when you're sitting on the bench just rotting, wasting away, it's hard to stay in the game mentally. It's just human nature.
Yeah, and one thing we don't do is we don't keep people on the bench here on Sweep the League. We got Coach Gio joining us. He's an automatic starter. So welcome to the coach. I'm going to have to fine you your $500 NIL deal for being late. So you're going to have to probably sit the first quarter, but we're going to have to fine you $500 if that's not a problem, Gio. That should be okay, right?
Sure.
Sure. Oh, see, and he even comes in with his mic. It's not even turned up all the way or anything. This guy, come on, man. You're just as bad as Daniel Jones. You know that?
I think my mic's turned on, though.
It's like you're far away. You're sounding far, far away. Put it that way. Getting into some comments while just correctly getting into some comments, man. One thing that surprisingly Joel Colon had said in here is that about his Puerto Rico team, since my Puerto Rico team losing to South Sudan was not expected, though. I thought that would have been the only game we could have won. Now, people are underestimating South Sudan, and people, I don't know if they're forgetting to remember what happened to Team USA against South Sudan in the exhibition, matchups. So I think is that the Puerto Rico team and the Puerto Rico game against South Sudan was kind of what I kind of maybe expected after seeing them play against Team USA. Now going against Team USA, South Sudan, Team USA needs to watch out because as you pointed out many times there, this team can get up and run and they can make life very hard for Team USA.
Well, first I'm going to say good evening, Gio. South Sudan, I mean, they're a team that could medal. And I mean that it was no fluke when you saw them play the USA. I looked at that team, and they're deep from top to bottom. And the key is they have a real point guard, what we call a true point guard, and that's Carlik Jones. Carlik Jones he's the guy that runs the engine, basically, the conductor of the train, if you want to say. And if you look at them, they're deep. And they can go 10, 11 deep. And they got shooters. They have athleticism. They have size. It's going to be I think it's going to be a very good matchup Wednesday. I'm not surprised at all that they beat Puerto Rico. I'm surprised they only beat them by 11, to be honest. Puerto Rico does not have Jose Piculín Ortiz coming through that door. So I was not surprised at all. And I think Kerr's going to have to make some decisions on if he goes with Embiid. And he's going to have to find some time for Jason Tatum. Someone might have to sit for a little while. But I honestly believe, Rudy, you can find space. If you go by the game, the actual flow of the game, you can find ways to get all 12 guys in the game because they're going to need all 12. And at some point, they're definitely going to need Jason Tatum.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're going to need, for me, against South Sudan, I think Tatum and Halliburton, they've got to get some run in here. But then again, it goes back to I think one person made a comment, I don't understand Steve Kerr's rotation. And that's something that we've been preaching left and right here at Sweep the League before the Olympics started. There's no rotation for the USA, for Team USA. Steve Kerr is just basically coming in blind. And that's the problem that I felt, was that these guys have had a few years to prepare. They've had a few years to prepare for this and get ready for it. But it still seems like they're just kind of making this shit up on the run. And that's what I don't like about the Team USA. That's why I didn't pick them to win gold this Olympics. I have them at the bronze because I still don't feel like they're ready and the rotation is right.
Hey, stop it.
Give me a break. I mean, you're not going to compare the Serbia game. If they lose to South Sudan, if they do, are you singing a different tune?
They're not losing to South Sudan, Rudy.
If they do.
Oh, wait, Gio,
listen, I can guarantee they're not losing to South Sudan, man.
You can't guarantee that.
I guarantee it. Hey, book it right now.
We beat Serbia by how many points? 26?
Yeah, it was about 26.
When Jokic was on the floor, how many did we beat Serbia by? 0.
By more than, yeah.
Both teams scored 81 points without Jokic on the floor. They just didn't have enough weapons to support him. But when he was on the floor, just him alone, there was a tie game. Both teams scored 81 points. South Sudan has many more weapons than they have on Serbia. That was not a fluke, what we saw from South Sudan in the first game. And the USA better be on their game tomorrow, Wednesday, because South Sudan is here to play.
I think it's a little fluky. Look, the point spread was at 40 points. If I was a betting man, which I actually am, I would have definitely taken the under on that, Rudy, because 40 just seemed pretty outrageous, even in today's kind of international game. But I think the men's team is going to win gold. I think everyone's just got to relax. They're going to get the rotations, and I think they're going to be just fine. I think there's too much panic right now.
I don't see the panic part. I'm basically saying what I see. I mean, like I said, you're putting a whole lot into the Serbia game where they dominated without, Joker, is what it basically came down to. And Derek's right, when Joker was on the court, it was a closer game. It was tied basically, but it was a lot closer than anything else. I mean, their exhibition season wasn't exactly the greatest. And you're talking about teams like South Sudan, but not only that, you're talking about Australia, the other team that they played, they didn't play their best. They didn't come out, in an exhibition game and say, we're going to beat Team USA here. It didn't count. They
didn't play their best, and they still won, Rudy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It didn't count. Exhibition doesn't count. You mean to tell me you're going to get your best Canadian team, your best Australian team?
It doesn't count, but to me, it wasn't the most inspiring, but I just feel like Team USA.
I said sparring, Gio.
Oh, okay, okay.
Sparring.
Shadowboxing.
Look, I think Team USA will be just fine. I think they're going to win gold, and everyone's going to go back to throughout their day. Look, I'm not saying they're not going to be challenged, and obviously Tatum should have played. I completely agree on that. How do you, a guy who's essentially the face of the Boston Celtics who just won the championship.
First team All-NBA.
Not sure if it has anything to do with him gloating a lot after he won. I don't know if that stirred Kerr the wrong way. I don't know, but player stars, you can definitely play all 12 guys. I mean, that shouldn't be difficult. Like in an all-star game, you normally play everybody, right? Like at least. So.
Well, I think it's more of, certain situations. I think Little Mac made a comment about Embiid needs to sit. I mean, yeah, I think Embiid, sometimes he's a crutch for Team USA. I don't like him on the court a lot of times. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me. And they play better without him. I mean, like Derek's been saying from day one, they have been playing better without Joel Embiid. So do you think he sits more against South Sudan than plays, Derek, for Embiid?
It's going to be, I think he's going to still play 15 to 20 minutes because we're going to need him against South Sudan because we're going to need rebounding.
Yeah.
And one thing he does, he takes up a lot of space, and we're going to need that. And I'm so glad KD is back because I honestly, if KD wasn't back, I wouldn't even pick us to win this game. and I'm nervous about it going into Wednesday anyway, because I don't go by what people say and what they write down on paper. I go by my eyes only. And my eyes tell me that Sudan is a legitimate team. They're a dangerous team. We were fortunate to beat them the first time. Now Kerr has to make an adjustment, or possibly make an adjustment with KD going into the lineup. That means someone has to sit. And if it's Embiid, that's going to hurt us because it takes away from our rebound and our inside play. So Kerr still has a lot of figuring out to do between now and Wednesday.
Yeah, he does. Shout out to Megan Price for joining us. 806 Sports Radio. Be sure to catch her on 806 Sports Radio. Fantastic work that Megan does. Friend of the show. She'll be back on the show here talking a lot more WNBA and other stuff as well. So shout out to Megan Price for joining us here in the chat. Appreciate everybody joining us in the chat. We are talking about Team USA. They had a walk in the park. Let's just say it was a walk in the park, for pretty much against Serbia. The whole Jason Tatum thing not playing, Halliburton not playing. We still got to get them in the lineup somewhere. They got to get part of that rotation. They're going to need them later on down in this Olympic competition. South Sudan is next. Again, people are overlooking South Sudan. I know it's South Sudan. Come on. Gio thinks that they're the worst team in the Olympics.
I never said they were the worst team in the Olympics. All I'm saying, I think Team USA will be okay. I think they'll be all right.
Hey, Rudy, can I remind you guys of one thing?
What's up?
Against Serbia, we got a lot of open looks. The USA went 17 for 30 from three. Yeah. I don't see them going 17 for 30 against Sudan. Sudan closes out a little faster. They have better athletes. And what worries me is if we get it caught up in the three-point thing, we could be in trouble because they're going to make us put the ball on the floor. And that's why I say you're going to need someone. Tatum can get to the basket. You just make him play in spots so he doesn't get in the habit of turning the ball over like he does with Jaylen Brown with the Celtics. But you also got to figure out is Devin Booker and Steph. I saw Steph hurt his ankle. Is his ankle going to be a problem?
It was his knee.
I saw him grab his ankle.
Oh, his ankle too. I remember they ran into his knee on when he was trying to fight through a screen.
Yeah, at one point though, he hurt his ankle and started limping around. So we got to figure this out. How is KD going to affect the chemistry? And then someone said Bam should be playing and AD. Bam has been more of a jump shooter in this FIBA basketball. We need someone that can at least post up. And I don't know. They're going to have to figure this out. I think we're going to need Embiid Wednesday.
Yeah, I love how everybody's talking because everybody's saying, Booker needs to sit. Gazzato Zay says, man, forget all that they sleepwalking right now. Why are y'all talking nonsense? I mean, we got to talk nonsense because, a lot of us feel that this isn't a cakewalk for Team USA. Maggie's right.
Hey, Rudy.
What's up?
There's one advantage I have on a lot of these people on here, and I thank them for tuning in. But I played overseas for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I know what they're capable of, what kind of players they are. Just because you put an all-star team together, this is not 1992. And just because you put an all-star team together does not guarantee you victory. It's about sharing the wealth. And sometimes guys don't want to do that when it comes down to the Olympics. So everyone that's thinking we're just going to cruise to victory, I'm telling you, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you can maybe see one blowout. And actually, I think the blowout comes against Puerto Rico is what I think. I mean, Puerto Rico, I think, is that one team that they're going to be comfortable with. Way comfortable more than what they did against Serbia. But nonetheless, we got a lot of people in here. I appreciate everybody joining the chat right now. Because I was saying Embiid will step up. Bam will stop shooting. Everybody's in here. Little Mac, the world has closed the gap on Team USA big time. Now, before we go to commercial break, I'm gonna comment on Little Mac's thing. On his comment, there's only one person of American born that made All NBA first team. That should tell you how close the international competition has come to, competing against American basketball. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know right now. Like you mentioned, Derek, the 92 days, they're long gone. The world has literally caught up to the NBA. We're talking to Coach Gio, Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Rudy Campos Jr. This is Sweep the League. When we get back, more Olympic talk. Plus, we got to get into some NFL news. The fake rumor of CeeDee Lamb signing a 4-year deal or getting close to it. Again, we knew that it was fake. I just wanted to talk about it because I like the number. The number was at $34 million a year. Like it or not, we're going to go over that here later on Sweep the League. Brought to you by MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea, Castro and Sons Solar, and La Cocina Taco Truck. We'll be back.
Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work, including patios, driveways, foundations, and swimming pools. The team of experts are dedicated to delivering exceptional results and unparalleled customer satisfaction. At MCS General Contracting, they're not just hardworking, they're local. Based in San Antonio, they are committed to building relationships and trust within the community. That's why MCS guarantees your satisfaction. They pride themselves on getting the job done right the first time, every time. So why wait? Contract MCS General Contracting today to schedule your project and experience the difference for yourself. MCS General Contracting. Building a better San Antonio, one project at a time. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League. Hey guys, are you ready for a flavor explosion? Look no further than La Cocina Taco Truck, serving up the best street tacos and quesadillas in New Braunfels. With a 5-star rating and rave reviews, they're not just a taco truck. They are a taste sensation. La Cocina staff is the best in town and pride themselves on making every customer feel like family. Whether you're feeding a crowd or just satisfying your own cravings, they've got you covered because no order is too big or too small for them there. Louis and his staff are all about customer satisfaction and they love their community. Don't worry, San Antonio friends. They're just a short trip away to New Braunfels. So why wait? Come visit La Cocina Taco Truck today and taste the difference for yourself. That's La Cocina Taco Truck, where every bite is a fiesta. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League.
Hey there, sports fans. I'm Ashley, your go-to girl for all things sports here on Sweep the League. Welcome to our daily news reports where we'll be covering the latest updates from the NFL, NBA, WNBA, college sports, and more. We're thrilled to be a part of the rapidly growing Sweep the League network, bringing you fast and fresh news updates every day. Make sure to subscribe to Sweep the League TV on YouTube for even more in-depth analysis and discussions with our amazing team Monday through Friday. Huge thank you to our incredible sponsors in San Antonio for their support. We couldn't do it without you. So let's get started. I'm Ashley, and I'll be sweeping the league for you every day. Stay tuned for the latest sports news and updates.
Pops the mastermind, got the team what we need. 5 rings deep, we the dynasty kings. From the Alamo Dome to the banners we bring. Respect the...
Yeah, that's 210. Shout out to SOTB and STO collaboration. 210 being released right now on SoundCloud, wherever music is available. Also, Ashley, our news girl, she's going to be dropping news every single day for you guys as well. Welcome back to Sweep the League. Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Coach Gio, and Rudy Campos Jr. joining you tonight on a Manic Monday. This next segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting and La Cocina Taco Truck. The best street tacos and quesadillas are located in New Braunfels. Just take a short drive to get satisfied. Louis and the staff will take care of you no matter what the order is. Small order, big order, doesn't matter. They will feed you and they will make sure it is right and good and you are full. That's La Cocina Taco Truck, proud sponsors of Sweep the League. So coming back to, the Olympic talk, with South Sudan, a lot of people, like I said, you don't want to sleep on South Sudan at all. But let's get into a couple of the comments here. Gazzato Zay saying the world hasn't closed the gap. This is like Biden versus Trump. It's over. I'm not too sure about the political talk there, but I won't get into any. We don't get into any political talk. Little Mac has disagreed. Gazzato really made a great point. Only one U.S.-born player made first team All-NBA. That's been kind of every year. It seems like, Doncic has been one of the best players for a while. Giannis has been up there. Joker, already multi-time MVP when healthy. Joel Embiid. Then you see the emergence of SGA. That's 5 guys right there that are all international-born players. Top 5 guys in the NBA, basically, when healthy, are all international players, man. We're seeing the emergence of the international stars, Gio. We can't just hide behind the fact that basketball is, an American sport. It's not anymore. It's worldwide, man. They're taking over too.
Yeah, no, I have to disagree with my good friend Gazzato, whatever he got there going. No, it closed the gap. This is not 1992 or even 96 or even 2001. We saw what happened in 2004, Rudy, with Argentina. That kind of started that kind of swirl. Then it's continued on, and the NBA, and not just the NBA, but the U.S. society has to continue to improve, because right now what's happening, Rudy, these countries have all been together. They're all together, Derek, for years. And the NBA, or not just the NBA, but like in college and even, the high schoolers these days traveling and all those leagues, and it's changing. The people overseas are playing together for a long time. They get it. And you see it with all these other countries. USA is just trying to put together. I think they'll be okay, but I think in the next Olympics or the next decade, Rudy, it's going to continue the shitting the guard. But it is, hey, we still have the NFL, so.
You're waiting for that NFL talk, man. Because I was saying that Rudy got cooked. LOL, I don't want to hear about him at Little Mac. I got cooked. I've been getting cooked all day today for some reason. I don't know why I'm getting cooked all day. I just, get text messages and stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm getting cooked for all of a sudden. So I just say, just call me toast, because I'm just getting burnt all over the place, ain't I? Derek, we're talking about the international players. It's starting more and more. Now, for granted, guys coming in this season, rookies coming in this season aren't exactly the greatest prospects for international players. But when you're talking about 5 of maybe, let's say, the top 10, probably, what do we say? How many out of the top 10 are international? We named 5 right off the bat. Obviously, KD's another top player. He's not international, but just seeing, in our opinion, the gap being closed, can we continue to see more international guys come in and dominate? Because, you got a guy like Wemby who's already proven himself in the league, and he's just going to get better. So there's another international guy that we've got to worry about there. 830-499-1852. If you want to call in, that's the call-in number, Derek.
Hey, what people have to understand is this is a different game than NBA. First of all, it's 40 minutes. The court is a little smaller. The three-point line is a little closer. It's just there are different rules. You have the rule about knocking the ball off the rim. There's a lot of different things that the Americans have to adjust to, and they don't have enough time to adjust. And that's what's going to keep the teams in these games. If you play against the USA, and if you can kind of take some time out of your offense, you can run the shot clock. And that's what I told you, Rudy. I told you Serbia's only chance was what? To try to limit the possessions. Yeah. They didn't do that. They tried to play the USA's game. And I told you it's going to be a blowout if they play that way. I told you that yesterday. Yeah. If they would have limited the game, the possessions, and that means that takes the USA out of those fast break opportunities. The LeBron James dunks, the Anthony Edwards dunks. That's how you have to play FIBA basketball. But South Sudan, as we know, is going to take a lot of three-pointers, and they don't mind getting up and down the floor. So that's why I say that guys like Tatum and Halliburton are going to be important. We have to remember, KD is up there in age now. Steph is up there in age now. LeBron is up there in age now. And we're going to need those young legs if we're going to bring home the gold.
You know, it's real quick, Jill. Let me ask this real quick for you, then you can take the mic on it. But the other part too was what the Team USA doesn't realize that's going to happen is what I told you at the game while we were watching the game, Derek. If more of these teams start taking charges off of the fast break, Team USA is going to be in foul trouble quick. They're not used to that kind of play in the NBA. Where in international play, these guys are not afraid to take a charge at all. So keep that in mind. If these international teams really play the way that they're capable of and start taking charges and stepping in front of the players on the fast break, these guys are going to foul out pretty damn quick.
Mitchich stepped up right after we talked about it yesterday. You remember he took a charge on LeBron at the free throw line.
Yeah, he did. He did. I remember that. What do you got, Joe?
No, I'm just saying, we've seen it in other sports. I mean, Rudy, baseball, I mean, that's a great example. American for the most part, and within the last 20 years, some of these baseball teams, what do we see? It's international, right? So
yeah,
these games have all opened up. We also see it in tennis. Pete Sampras for a long time considered the GOAT. Within the last 25 years, Rudy, there's no top American, at least on the men's side. Obviously, the women's side with Serena. So a lot of sports have changed. In the NBA, I suspect in the next decade or so, Derek, it's probably going to be about 50%.
You get no argument here. And just think about this. I posted a few days ago that 2025, 2026, I think we're going to have an influx of South Sudanese players. So it's only going to continue to grow. And when I played, a lot of guys had NBA potential. I read some of this stuff on Facebook of how LeBron has played against 51 NBA players and Jordan only played against 5. Let me kind of explain that. A lot of players back then were making very good money, so they chose to stay in overseas as opposed to coming to the NBA. You had guys like Oscar Schmidt from Brazil, all-time leading scorer in the Olympics. So they still had guys that could play that were very talented. But now they're coming to the NBA. Before they just chose not to.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that you brought up a fantastic point. So you didn't see the influx of international players back in the 80s and 90s because you're right. They were getting paid buku dollars across the sea. Keep this in mind. Check this out. You want to be surprised by it? This is why we didn't see Oscar, Arvidas, a lot of these guys come over. When you think about Michael Jordan, the greatest player of all time, and his career earning, forget the Nike basketball stuff. The guy made $94 million in a 15-year career. That should tell you the reason why we didn't see international players back then. They were going to make more overseas than they were coming to the NBA. Now it's totally different. I mean, you're making, $94 million in a damn year probably. In a couple of years is what you're making, $94 million, if you're that great. So then the money's better now to come to the NBA. So Derek made a huge point right there as to why we didn't see a lot of the greats international, because I guarantee you, prime Oscar Schmidt coming over to the NBA, it's a different league. It's a way different league. You've got him. You started to see the emergence of, like we mentioned, Drazen Petrovic. If you had prime Arvidas Sabonis come over to the NBA, again, it's an international dominance. You're seeing a guy that could possibly have been MVP candidate year in, year out in the NBA. But they were making so much money back then overseas. There was no point in coming to the NBA. They weren't paying anything. So,
hey, Rudy, your guy came, but he was one of the first, Marciulionis, Marciulionis. Yeah. And after that, we had, Draz, we had Vlade Divac, Tony Kukoc. But now, I mean, you got, you tell these guys now, if you look at the money, you got an opportunity to have more financial security than you even had over there, making $3 or $4 million. Over here, you can make after taxes $25, $30 million. So, I mean, it's just doing the math. And those guys are making the best decision for themselves and their families now. And right now, that's coming to the NBA. Yeah,
it really is. And we got Joel Cologne. Let me get to Joel Cologne's comment here earlier. He said, so hear me out. If the NBA is the best league in the world, that's not even an argument. Why doesn't FIBA adapt to the NBA rules rather than the other way around? Personally, I would rather it be the opposite way. I would rather have the FIBA rules in the NBA, but then again, it's weird because one of the arguments that I had with that was, well, the NBA, it's going to be boring basketball. It's FIBA rules. You can have the center just camp out in the paint. The scoring's going to be down. Not necessarily. I mean, you're going to still have some high-scoring games, but for me, I like the FIBA rules better, and that's just my opinion. But again, why should FIBA change the rules for the NBA? And I mean, it's an international competition. The Olympics is not an American competition. It's an international competition involving every country. They go by their rules. So, I mean, they shouldn't have to adopt the NBA rules.
Rudy, the NBA right now is like playing horse or the shooting games for 5. Well, I'm just being honest. Come on, now. 5 spots. You shoot from the wing, the corner, the top, the other wing. That people don't want to see that. I'm tired of it. I'm supporting it because I'm a former player and I love the NBA, but I prefer the physicality that we're seeing. And you see the FIBA Olympics, this FIBA ball is not made for these young guys, these 18, 19, 20-year-olds. This is a man's game in the FIBA. And that's what I like about it, the physicality that some people say they want back. You get that when you watch FIBA basketball.
Yeah.
I agree with Derek. It's the international game just as a whole, when you watch it, just the physicality, the fans, right? It's all that goes into that. When going to an NBA game here, all you see, Derek, as I always like to say, is people just jacking up shots. People just doing just ridiculous things on the court, trying to get a name for themselves. And granted, we know you want to get paid, but a lot of the NBA that I watch, it's really not enjoyable, to be honest.
You're not the only one that says that. I hear that a lot of people. The NBA is not as enjoyable, man.
You drive to the basket. You drive to the basket. You might have an open layup. Instead of taking it, you throw it out to the corner.
There are players who would rather shoot a 3 than a wide open layup.
That's crazy.
That's crazy to me.
How many times have we seen a 3-on-1 fast break where you have a guy pull up for a 3, and then you hear what's so crazy is you hear some of the guys, the color analysts, where he's got 2 guys that are going to be able to rebound the ball. Why go for the 3-point shot? Go for the easy basket. Who gives a damn about rebounding? It's a quick basket, man.
Is Golden State winning the championship these last few years?
No, not at all.
Teams have adapted. They started running them off the 3-point line and making them put the ball on the ground. Making Klay Thompson, if you look at the playoffs this past year, they basically almost made Klay a point guard. And that's taking him out of that's taking him and the team out of their rhythm. So I like the FIBA basketball. I love it. I wish one day that the NBA would go to some of the FIBA rules. I think the fans might question it at first, be a little leery, but as the time goes by, I think they'll accept it and they'll appreciate it.
Yeah, we had to
talk about it, that we need more of a physical, bring some of these rules, hand checking, some things that we can implement now.
Just bring in FIBA rules. I mean, that's enough right there. What's weird is, and again, we had a phone call a little while ago. When I answered it, they hung up. So if you're calling the line, it's open right now. You can give us a phone call here at Sweep the League. But just bring in the FIBA rules. Now, what you saw from FIBA this past weekend, if you're watching, paying attention to the games, it was physical. We got a phone call come in, so let's take the phone call. We'll get into more talk here in just a little bit. Caller, welcome to Sweep the League. What do you got for us? Gazzato, what is up, man? Okay.
Call back, my man. We want to hear your question.
Mm-hmm.
Did he send a chat instead? A message by chat instead, Rudy?
Give me 1 second.
I think Rudy's going to just transfer over
So while you guys doing that, I can tell, I think we have the best music of any station, of any podcast in the country. Shout out to these guys, Shemaya and company, with that music.
I'm surprised Rudy hasn't done an Atlanta Falcons rap.
Give me 1 second. Hey, Gazzano, give me 1 second, man. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. For whatever reason, they can't hear you on the phone call, man. Give me 1 second here. Let me see what's going on here. Yeah, I'll let them know what you were saying here a little bit here, but appreciate the phone call. Like I said, I'm having a little trouble on the phone, but yeah, appreciate the phone call, man. Yeah, basically, I'm sorry. I guess for whatever reason, the phone's not working right now, but we were able to hear the call on there. The thing is, what he was saying was about the international rules, bringing in the FIBA rules. It's more physical, and that's what we were kind of saying right now is the physicality with FIBA is you're getting older NBA basketball, but not to that extreme. You're getting the physicality, and you saw the refs let them play. And then I remember a comment that was made online about, well, these are international refs. BS. Some of these guys have reffed in the NBA. I mean, some of them have pro experience reffing. So they got both FIBA and basically NBA, referees doing this whole Olympic thing.
Yeah, we shouldn't discredit a ref just because he may or may not have refereed in the NBA. But listen, the rules, it just shows you what the NBA is just missing, what we've been talking about for the last year or so, or I know Rudy's been talking about for a long time, is bringing these rules to the NBA just makes so much sense. Now, I'm not saying bring every single rule, right? But
yeah,
listen, bring some defense because, my golly, sometimes you watch these games and it's just guys, just no defensive. Some coaches don't probably even talk about defense, as you could tell. So
yeah,
we need a physical style game. It's time to stop. And maybe with NBC, Rudy, the song coming back, just maybe the NBA might think, well, maybe we might go back to some of the rules that they had back in the NBC days. But
no, they're not. They're not going to take those.
I told you guys why they don't want to adopt the FIBA rules right now. That takes away a lot of these young guys out of the game. They're not physically strong enough for that basketball, and it would take an adjustment period. These guys are having a rough adjustment now. Yeah. And if you look at it, Sarr, Risa Shea, all these guys are having trouble playing with the rules they currently have. So picture them, what you letting guys put forearms in their neck and all of that. A lot of these guys aren't ready for that game yet. I mean, these are a lot of young people. It's not the guys that are coming out of college like a Zach Edey who have went to school for 3 or 4 years, or Tim Duncan. It's a different era, and the NBA wants to give these young guys a chance to succeed.
And speaking of Zach Edey, he's Canadian, right? So another, right, the best player in college, Rudy, right? He didn't win the award, is Canadian. So there you go, another international player.
Yeah, the international game is just crazy, man. It's getting really, really crazy. And not to the fault of the NBA guys. I mean, it's just, you're going to evolve. It's evolution. You're going to evolve regardless whether you play in America or, overseas. The difference is in America, they care. In international, they don't care if you get 1 million likes on a dunk. They don't care if you get 1 million followers because you can shoot, 24 half-court shots in a row. They practice. They perfect the game as best as they can, where when you come into the United States, it starts at the high school level. You see the high schoolers, putting their stuff on TikTok, dribbling. Julian Newman is one example. I mean, the kid was an overnight sensation at 5'1" because, he could dribble between the legs fast and he looked quick. I mean, the guy turned out to be nothing as a basketball player. That just shows you the popularity.
He's absolutely nothing, Rudy.
No, he's absolutely nothing. But
I've seen highlights of him.
The popularity here is terrible.
I've seen highlights of him. I did research a few years ago and I realized, this is a nobody. Why are we hyping him up?
His dad was the worst thing to happen to him, and I don't mean in a bad way. I'm saying in basketball, and for basketball, his dad was the worst thing could have happened to him. Kind of reminds me of a guy that's having trouble getting on the floor right now in Cleveland, Imani Bates. And sometimes these parents got to step back. They trying to do well. LeBron was an anomaly. With him and Bronny, everybody's not LeBron. Sometimes these parents have to step back.
Yeah, they really do, man. Because I was in here, so is LeBron showing he is physical like back in them Jordan days? LeBron's always been physical. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, yeah, you get the occasional, flop, and you get the occasional, he hit him on the side of the head, a tap with a finger, and LeBron thinks that he got poked in the temple with a knife or something, but he can play the physical game. He's a physical specimen. I will never deny that. We talked about LeBron back in the 80s, him, playing with a team like Detroit or somebody like that. I mean, he would be really good. He would actually play really good in the 90s, I believe, with the physicality.
Hey, he's not the biggest flopper in the league anymore.
Is that Luka now?
Luka, and don't leave out the big fella now, who's our starting center for the USA. Joel, I'm so man. If Joel Embiid falls one more time, I'm gonna jump through the TV screen and kick him in his butt.
He's always doing something like that. Ginobili had some of that floppish.
and Friday, but Embiid's taking it to another level, man. This is a guy that's been in the MVP voting the last 3 or 4 years and weighs about 300 pounds. I mean, come on, man. Stay on your feet and stop hurting people as well.
Exactly, man. Exactly. The flops got to go, man. But, people start blaming the international guys for bringing the flop over here. So, I mean.
What's up, Rock?
I don't know, man. What's going on, Rocky Garza, member of Sweep the League? He's hopefully going to be back on here pretty soon. But nonetheless, man, the international competition is definitely catching up. We're seeing the Olympics. We'll see how they play against South Sudan on Wednesday night. This is Sweep the League. Our last commercial break is going to be brought to you by MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea, Castro & Sons Solar, as well as La Cocina Taco Truck. We got one more break on the way back. It's NFL Talk. CeeDee Lamb. The rumors weren't true, but the 4-year, $136 million, I don't know if that's bad or not. We're going to ask the guys here in just a little bit, and is that enough to keep him here for the long term, but also to get Dak and Micah as well signed? Who's the priority still? We got to get into that here on the way back.
Hey, Rudy, I'm sorry. A quick shout out to the Nigeria women's basketball team. Man, did they put it on Australia?
They sure did. And shout out to the U.S. women's team. Looking good. I feel really confident about the U.S. women's team, more than I do about the men's team. Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Coach Gio, Rudy Caballero, we'll be back.
Howdy from Texas. You've got to be tired of the sizzling electric bills and the Texas heat, right? Well, partner, we've got the solution for you. Introducing Castro & Sons Solar, harnessing the power of the sun to save you some serious cash. Their top-notch solar panels will have you soaking up the savings in no time. Imagine lower electric bills, a reduced carbon footprint, and the satisfaction of going green. Their expert team will take care of everything from installation to maintenance. We're talking hassle-free, worry-free, and stress-free solar solutions. So why wait? Join the solar revolution with Castro & Sons Solar. Let the Texas sun shine bright and your savings shine even brighter. Castro & Sons Solar, empowering your home one sunbeam at a time. Call them today and let's get this solar party started. Can you imagine a world where nature meets wellness, where every sip you take nourishes your body and soul? Introducing Special Leaf Tea, a line of 100% natural, ready-to-drink iced teas crafted to boost your immunity and energy. With 4 unique flavors to choose from, as in hibiscus blueberry, tangerine ginger, pomegranate blueberry, or the original, you can indulge in the perfect blend of taste and nutrition. Their teas are carefully crafted with 2 times the antioxidants and no added sugar. They're known to help with blood pressure, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, weight management, and even provide natural energy without caffeine. Join the movement towards natural wellness Order now at www.specialleaf.com and start sipping your way to a healthier, happier you. Special Leaf Tea. Nature in every sip. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League. Spurs fans, are you ready to stay ahead of the game of the San Antonio Spurs with the best coverage in the business? Tune in to Locked On Spurs, the daily podcast that brings you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and all the latest news and updates for your silver and black. Join Jeff Garcia, the most informative and entertaining host in the game, as he breaks down all Spurs news and notes, interviews the biggest names, and keeps you locked into all things Spurs. From Monday to Friday, get ready to start your day with the best Spurs coverage in the business. Don't miss out on the expert opinions, the hot takes, and the can't miss guests. Make sure you're locked in with Locked On Spurs. Subscribe to their YouTube channel now and stay ahead of the game all season long. Locked On Spurs. It's the best Spurs coverage in the business. Don't miss out.
You did it. Wemby, the king is crowned. Wemby, king is crowned. Future of the league, and he's wearing his crown. We playing chess, he's playing checkers, no contest. Wemby's got the game on lock, and he's making his statement. I'm talking about Wemby, the next in line, future of the league, and he's shining fine.
Yeah, shout out to MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea, Castro and Son Solar, as well as La Cocina Taco Truck. And Tim, I see your comment about talking about USA teams, Team USA Women's. I promise we don't get into it tonight. We'll get into it. I mean, we only have an hour and a half, man. We talk about a lot of stuff on here, so I promise you we'll get into a lot of Team USA Women's talk as well. We've got a whole week ahead of us. Rock has a question, but before we get into that question, I got to check it out. But first off, this last segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting, La Cocina Taco Truck, Special Leaf Tea, and of course, Castro and Son Solar. This last segment is brought to you by all four. Shout out to Jeff Garcia and Locked On Spurs. Hopefully, I'll be able to be on this week or next to do another episode of Locked On Spurs. Rock is asking if Tatum plays more against South Sudan, whose minutes are you cutting? So before we get into NFL talk, whose minutes would you guys be cutting if they have put Tatum in? I honestly think it should probably – honestly, it's hard because as much as I know we need Embiid for rebounding, I don't know if you take away minutes from him for Tatum, maybe from Bam. I mean, there's got to be somewhere there that you've got to take someone out. Could it be maybe Derek White's? Could it be Drew Holiday's? It's kind of tough to tell right now.
Derek White.
About a few minutes. Go ahead, Gio. Go ahead.
Derek White can sit.
That's fine. Derek White. Derek, who do you got?
You can find. You have to go by the flow of the game, man. You can't just go into a game with a script because that's not going to work. You can find minutes for those guys. Steve Kerr, Mark Few, Eric Spoelstra, and Ty Lue have to be looking at the game and see what they need at that time. What's the weakness or what's the strength right now? That's how you figure out who to put on the floor. You don't just go out and say, I'm going to play Embiid, I'm going to play Drew Holiday, Devin Booker, Steph, and LeBron every day and just think that's going to work. Sometimes you have to make adjustments, and that comes from watching the game, what's actually going on at that time. You could take a few minutes from Anthony Edwards. You could take a few minutes from Devin Booker. You could take a few minutes from Derek White. There's several ways you could work it out. You could take a few minutes from Embiid, Bam Adebayo, whatever you have to do. LeBron, who's in there stat padding at the end of a 26-point win. There are ways you can find to get all these guys in the game and be effective and continue to move forward as we go down the stretch, get near the quarterfinals and all that. Just play by ear.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, for me, Jason Tatum taking minutes away, I think it's going to be right around, maybe Devin, possibly, maybe Anthony Edwards. But it's weird because Anthony Edwards seems to have that mentality of, I want to be the guy, I want to be the guy, I want to be the guy, don't cut my minutes. And that's kind of where I'm not too, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to even, it's hard for me to even think about, Anthony Edwards trying to be the guy on the team. What's crazy is we're trying to get into some NFL talk here, and Joel Colon hit a topic that we definitely need to hit on. I really wanted to hit on it tonight. Joel, I think we're going to hit on that this week for sure, but he asked the question, and keep this in mind for both of you guys. Is Steve Kerr actually a good coach? I think y'all know my feelings on Steve Kerr as a good coach and coach in general, but I know we've had the same argument for a while. Me, I don't.
Is Luke Walton?
I've never been on the Steve Kerr bandwagon. Let's put it that way.
He's not much better than Luke Walton.
Look, the guy's won. He's been a part of four NBA championships. And I told reading a comment, it's got to mean something.
Well, it means something to win.
Thank Mark Jackson for starting it off.
Hey, Mark Jackson may have started it off, but Steve, he did coach him 4 championships. They did win, 73 games. They didn't win.
Kevin Durant, 2 of those years, Gio.
Yeah.
Hey, you still got Steve Kerr still got his coaching,
sir.
Hey, people like talking about sometimes Phil Jackson because he had all these stars. Look, you still got a coach, so I think he's a good coach.
No. Now now you got to look at it. Pop and Phil Jackson and Pat Riley a little different than Kerr. Kerr inherited these players, but if you look at it, Kerr doesn't make a lot of decisions. What adjustments has he made? He's been fortunate to have in their prime Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and you had Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston and those guys, Andrew Bogut. But if you look at it today, you can see he's been exposed. He's not big on adjustments. And it's been the same problem right now in the Olympics. So I'm going to say Kerr is a decent coach. He's not one of the greatest coaches of all time. I think he's a little overrated as a coach.
Yeah, I find that.
I never said he was.
True.
Listen, I never said he was any greatest of all time. All I'm saying, hey, I think he's a good coach. I wouldn't say he's getting. Listen, his players are getting older. The NBA is changing. Teams are obviously have figured them out. But I probably am part of the few who think Kerr's a good coach. But look, from good to great, that could be a big gap, Derek. Clearly,
he has Gary Payton Jr. playing power forward. The guy's 6'1", 6'2", and so he's shortening his career. That's why he gets hurt so much. So it's just thinking the game. He's been fortunate to have Steph Curry and these guys. So I'm gonna give them more credit than I'm gonna give Steve Kerr. I'm just going by what I see. Payton, 6'1", 6'2". Where's their rim protector? They got rid of James Wiseman. What did they do to shore that up? Nothing. Mm-mm. And that comes from Kerr. He's the first guy they talk to when they make these decisions. I'll tell you who left this year. The general manager, Bob Myers, was a genius. He got out of there before they totally fell apart. And now Mike Dunleavy Jr. has to try to resurrect the team. Steve Kerr needs help. He hasn't been the same since Mike Brown left.
Yeah.
Just do your due diligence. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I mean, I see all that too. And I like the comment little Mac made here when he said most NBA champion coaches inherit good teams. I see where you're going with that, but let me give you a coach who is probably the best coach in the league right now. And it's not Gregory Popovich. Eric Spoelstra is probably the best coach in the league right now. Now, you can give him the LeBron and Dwayne Wade era, but after that, he still took a Miami team to an NBA Finals with Jimmy Butler. I mean, come on, don't give me that. This guy does a lot with very little.
He was mentored by Pat Riley, and Pat kind of still got the. And I think Eric's a hell of a coach, and I do think he's one of the best.
He's better than Kerr. I'll tell you that.
I can give you that. Yeah, I won't fight you on that. And I think Pat's obviously, he's kind of hovering there, but no, Eric is a hell of a coach. And to put that Heat team, that run they had in the bubble, and obviously outside of that one, it was. And they just had a few more players. Obviously, some guys got hurt in that series against Denver, but. Spoelstra is a hell of a coach, and I ain't going to fight you on that, Rudy.
Hey, I finally won one. I'm going to take this and run because I'll never win on the Daniel Jones talk.
I won't fight you. Daniel Jones.
Speaking of NFL talk, so, rumor, again, it's not a rumor. It really wasn't a true. I'm going to share the screen here for just a second, but There was talk about, CeeDee Lamb, breaking news, and of course JPA football. It is what it is. This is a terrible source, whatever. But I retweeted this, and I basically said this would be a good first step if this is something like that. So they were talking, a 4-year deal right around worth $136 million. Again, not true at all. Hasn't come out yet. It's not even a report, anything like that. But it got me thinking. Okay, so you're talking $136 million. You're talking about $34 million a year for CeeDee Lamb. Where does that pretty much place him? I mean, Justin Jefferson is at 140 for 4. Devontae Adams was at 140 for 5. So that puts him at third right now, roughly, actually second, because I think Devontae gets less a year. Is that a fair market value for CeeDee Lamb, or does he want to be the highest paid player in the league? So he would have to be at 141. That's what the question is. What is the max that you would want to pay CD? Because you still got Micah, you still got Dak.
Hey, Rudy, didn't they say it's a what have you done for me lately league?
Pretty
Pro
much.
sports.
Yeah. That's every league.
Didn't the man have like 1,749 yards last year and 135 receptions? I'm just going off the top of my head, and 12 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he was league leader in receptions and I think yards as well.
135. So they gotta put their money where their mouth is. They need this guy. And I tell you what, Micah Parsons is sitting back just smiling because he's in no hurry to sign. He wants to see what they're going to do with CeeDee Lamb before he even talks about another contract. So I think they need to sign CD. I remember telling you about a month ago that I thought CD was going to be the first guy that they tried to sign. People were telling me I was crazy. They're going to try to sign Micah first and Dak first. I told you clearly they were going to go after CD first. And we see that's what they're doing right now. And I think he's earned his money if you go by what have you done for me lately.
Yeah, Gio, the money for CD, I mean, I agree with a lot of people saying he should be the top receiver being paid right now, but, you've got so many issues. It's not like Justin Jefferson where you're going to have to pay Kirk Cousins, 40 a year, and then you got to pay Justin. You went ahead and just paid Justin, and you went and drafted J.J. McCarthy. You brought in, who was it, Darnold, I believe. So, I mean, you sacrificed the quarterback position. Dallas can't afford to really sacrifice that quarterback position right now.
As I tell my friend, go ahead, Derek.
No, I'm asking Rudy, why can't we? Do we even know that Dak's going to be a Cowboy after this season?
No, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee.
So you got to focus on the one. You got to focus on something. CD is going to be here after this season. So you got to focus on the people that you know are going to be here, and then you go to the next step. But right now, CD is the number one option that they got to figure him out. They got to do something with him. And then you worry about Dak. And we know they're going to take care of Micah Parsons. So Dak might end up being the odd man out.
Sadly, it looks like that might be the case. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I was going to say, look, if I'm CD, I told Jerry, that's got nothing to do with me that you got to sign other players. CD's next in line, and I think the market value for what he's done in the last 2 seasons, he needs to be the highest paid, whether that's $1 million or just a touch above Justin Jefferson. I think he deserves it. He's a hell of a ball player. I know Rudy likes to say that you can get a receiver in the 8th round these days in the NFL draft, but at this present point, he is next in line. And look, we see it. Jared Goff got his deal, right? Carson Wentz got his deal years ago. Those deals are discount now. It's going up. And
Patrick Mahomes' deal is a discount right now.
Jerry has that weird conference he did last week. I didn't understand what he was saying. He compared himself to Patrick Mahomes. I was confused. I was like, Jerry, what are you talking? Just pay the man, Jerry. But to Derek's point, I think Dak is going to be probably the odd person out. I told Rudy that if I'm the Cowboys, I'm not signing Dak Prescott. I'm letting him hit the market and you go elsewhere. Because if you're not going to pay Dak now, you're going to let him play the whole season. Dak's not going to want to come back and definitely not going to give you a discount, Jerry.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem is It really does go back. Do you see a quarterback, and Tim Gonzalez, don't give me the damn Shadur Sanders take again, but do you see a quarterback that you can get as the Cowboys next year that can replace Dak Prescott? Don't give me Trey Lance. Trey Lance is struggling in training camp right now. There's nobody that the Cowboys have, practice squad or anything that is better than Dak Prescott right now. So if you go the whole year with Dak, fantastic. You go into next off season, what do you do at the QB spot? You're not going to be able to sign one of the. You're going to hope to re-sign Dak, and then you're at that position like you said, Gio. Well, you didn't pay me this year. Now you're going to have to pay me next year, and it's going to be a heavy price tag. And so that's the part where I'm trying to figure out for Cowboy fans, like, do you eat it now or do you wait and pay almost, an extra 25% on top of what you would have had to pay him this year?
Listen, if I'm Dak, the Cowboys seem to always disrespect Dak over the years. I mean, they want to give him that contract the first time. They lingered it. A lot of stuff has come out the last several years. If I'm Dak Prescott, I honestly want to leave Dallas. It's just, I'm done. It's time to move on. And trust me, somebody will be happy with 10 and 12 wins this season. I can no doubt in my mind. And there are several teams out there. The Raiders, the quarterback situation in Las Vegas is not looking very good right now. The New York Jets, if Aaron Rodgers retires next season, there's going to be a spot in New York.
The Giants.
And also Daniel Jones as well, right? And I'm sure Dak Prescott would love to go play the Cowboys twice a year. So there's other teams, Carolina, who knows? Bryce Young might not work out. There's so much opportunity for Dak. Why do you want to stay with the Cowboys and just have to deal with this mess? He's going to have a new coach because we all said it. McCarthy's a lame duck this season.
They're leaving together.
Well,
exactly.
Can I give you a situation here? And it's just something that I was thinking about today was another team that I thought about would be a nice situation for Dak Prescott if he left, which I think most signs are pointing for him leaving. Oh, no, I can't say the Falcons. I'd love to have him on the Falcons. Trust me. I'd love to have him on the Falcons. I would, but they drafted some kid named Michael Penix, so I don't think they're going to go for Dak Prescott. But there is a team, and to me, going into the next offseason, if this guy ends up retiring, wouldn't the Rams look a little good with Dak Prescott under center with that kind of receiving core, knowing that Matthew Stafford is, 33? Could be his last year, even though he signed up to 2026.
As someone who's been watching Stafford closely, Rudy, he's having a lot of fun with those receivers. And the Rams.
It's one hit, though. Stafford is not the greatest quarterback when it comes to taking a hit, though.
I completely agree. The Rams' offensive line was really good. They've bolstered the offensive line this season. They're going to have one of the better upfront groups in the league.
Exactly.
I just find it hard to believe, Rudy, that he's going to step away with that new contract. I think Stafford's going to play for another several years. Now, obviously,
34 years.
I can definitely see there. Now, obviously, if he does retire, then Dak on the Rams, I think would be a pretty good fit because you got those receivers. Sean McVay is going to put him in the best position to win. Right, Sean's just one of those guys. He's cut from the Shanahan coaching tree. A little bit different. He is not much of a runner, though. Kyron Williams is a beast, and he's come back from injury. But that would be a good spot, Rudy. I think the pieces, all that would fit well. But I think I'm finding hard to believe Matthew Stafford's going to hang it up at 33. I think he's got a good 3 or 4 years left in him. But obviously, things can change. The narrative, of course.
Yeah, I see what you're saying about Stafford. I really do. The reason why I brought up the Rams is because, Stafford's already got a Super Bowl under his belt. And, he could have another, great season. And that's the part where I'm thinking, okay, does he maybe think, okay, I've had a career. If the Rams failed to make the playoffs, and I'm saying a big if here, if they fail to make the playoffs, And that's probably where I'm thinking in Stafford's mind, like, okay, maybe it is time to hang it up. So if they make the playoffs, how far do they have to go in the playoffs in order for Stafford to be like, okay, I want to come back.
I think the plan right now is, from what I'm thinking, 2 to 3 years. I think that's the plan for Stafford. He obviously signed the extension. He's still not the highest. Is he even in the top 10, Rudy? I don't think he is.
Pay-wise?
Pay-wise,
no.
I don't think he is, which people tend to forget about Stafford. And the Rams had that run at the end of the season. The Rams won 6-7 in a row. They had the Ravens on the ropes. And, you know, Detroit, if Stafford gets at least 1 or 2 passes in the end zone, the game's. And if the Rams had a kicker, we had no field goal kicker last year. We couldn't do anything. If the Rams had a kicker, I'm sorry, Derek. The Rams lost by 1 point. The Rams lost by 1 point in that playoff game. The Rams had some kicker. And Kyron, you know, the Detroit Lions really did affect the Rams' running game. The Rams couldn't get any space. But I don't think Stafford, and I said, I can't wait for that first game because that is a big game. I wish the Lions game was in the middle of the year, but it's the first game of the season. So, Derek, you know, we'll have some good conversations before then.
Detroit.
I think he wants to win. So I think he wants to at least have an opportunity to win another championship. And then he's playing in good weather. And then I had a question for you and Gio. When you talk about Dak, don't you think Dak really wants to play somewhere where it's warm?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's a good question.
Coming from Mississippi State, so obviously warm weather. Yeah, I mean, but where outside of what, Tampa Bay, maybe
Arizona.
Oh, you can't get rid of Kyler Murray. Gio will forbid anybody from getting rid of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I'm not. The only thing I've said on Kyler is I think he's just a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. That's all I've said about Kyler. I'm expecting Kyler to have a good year.
Didn't we mention a team that's going to be very lucrative and very, you know, basically eye candy for quarterbacks? We mentioned was Seattle. I mean, they have the receivers. Their offensive line can get it done. They've got Kenneth Walker. I mean, Seattle should be circled for most quarterbacks that are going to be hitting free agency because they got pretty much everything in place. I mean, you got you got Lockett still. I mean, you got Metcalf. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba. You still got a good amount of receivers there. So
no, I think Seattle's interesting. You know, Geno, I thought last year came a little apart.
Geno'd.
What he did, he still, I think he still deserves to obviously start another season. We'll see what Geno Smith does. Seattle has a new coach, Rudy, right?
Yeah.
Mike McDonough comes over from the Ravens as a defensive-minded coach. Pete Carroll was defensive-minded, but the last 5 years, let's all be real, Seattle's defense has not been very good for the most part, up and down. They do have some good draft picks coming in. Witherspoon, that cornerback, he's a hell of a player. They got defensive guys now, so you got a good defensive mind. But Seattle is one of those teams, to me, they're just a quarterback away from potentially making a good deep run. And obviously in the NFC West, you also have San Francisco and Rudy's favorite Cardinals.
Oh, my God. I mean, this is my fault right here. Stafford is 36. When I said 33, that was when he signed his contract. So, again, that is my fault. He's not 33 years old. He is 36. He is older than that.
Regardless, I think he still plays 2 to 3 more years.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders, we're going to talk a lot about Shedeur, trust me. We'll get into a lot of Shedeur talk. He's not the greatest. And then Dak in Pittsburgh, that was a pretty good one that I liked as well. But right now, Pittsburgh has Justin Fields that they're circling Justin Fields. So I don't see.
Rudy, if Dak's on the market, you can't tell me Pittsburgh Steelers are not thinking, hey, we could swap a QB for a QB along with obviously some other.
I would rather see Justin Fields in Dallas than Trey Lance. I mean, let's be real, man.
Rudy, Rudy hates Trey Lance. I think we need to see Trey Lance.
We've seen
Derek,
man.
Let me know if I'm wrong.
I agree with you.
I think we need to at least see him, to see what he's got, because in San Francisco, he got hurt.
The eye test.
It just, Rudy, I don't think I've seen enough, honestly. I've seen less than a few games?
People didn't believe in Jordan Love. Some thought Jordan Love wasn't ready. Sometimes some guys play better under the bright lights.
Jordan, he was behind Aaron for a while, so we didn't really get to see him a whole lot. But when he did get some playing time, he did struggle. And he obviously had that breakout year last year, and he got paid for it. So I'll give you this. Trey Lance in San Francisco didn't work for whatever reason. It just didn't work. Him in Dallas, could it work? It's possible. Again, some of the reports coming out of training camp is that he's struggling in training camp. So it's kind of hard to say, whether Trey Lance is not. But one thing I want to get into before we leave here for the evening is I want to share this screen because, Gio, your boy, one of your boys this year is getting a lot of praise. Tons of praise. And Tim Gonzalez asking, so who does Rudy hate more, Trey Lance or Caleb Williams? It's Caleb. But Adam Rank is predicting the Bears win total for this year at 12-5.
I guess Gio doesn't know what he's talking about, right, Derek?
Make this make sense to me because he has the Bears beating the Lions twice. He's got the Bears beating Green Bay at Green Bay. He's got the Bears beating your Rams in week 4. Make this make sense to me because I literally spit out my water when I saw this at work. It doesn't make any sense.
This is what I've been telling y'all. You're not listening to what I've been saying about Caleb Williams. I think he's that guy. I've seen some videos of him in camp. Listen, I think he's
watching the same videos.
No, look, I don't want to talk about practice. I know, we've seen other players, a la Ben Simmons, who's a great off-season practice person, but then doesn't play. But I just think Caleb's going to have the opportunity to play very well in this offense. Put him in spots where he can succeed. You got the receivers, the tight end. They got Swift, the running back. Look, they got talent, and their defense was pretty good last season. 12-5, I think that's a little rich for my blood because I'm thinking between 9 and 10 wins. Adam's going up to 12-5, which is a complete turnaround. And as someone who's lived in Chicago, the fans would be joyful to see a team go 12-5 there and have your quarterback. But I don't think this is far off from what I've predicted. And I think some people are starting to come around.
You can't, the Lions are the ones that I'm like, come on, man. Seriously.
Vikings, did these teams drop out of the NFL all of a sudden?
Yeah,
12-5.
Maybe I give them maybe I can see the Vikings splitting.
But look at their schedule, though, Rudy. They got the Cardinals. They got the Commanders, the Panthers.
Okay. The Patriots. Those are 4 very winnable games. I've never seen
very winnable games. The Colts is going to be a tough one. I like what they're doing there.
And the Titans is not easy. I hate that people write off the Titans. They're not an easy game.
I need to see more from the quarterback. Obviously, no Derrick Henry.
Obviously. Will Levis, definitely. You got to see more.
New coaching regime there. We got to see more. And we'll have Joe on to kind of maybe show us the light a bit there, Rudy, with the Titans.
So Gio, I'm sorry, but is this gentleman saying that Caleb Williams is ready to be the MVP?
With that record, it could very well damn be in the talks for MVP.
You know what? It's a lot of expectations. I'm going 9 to 10 wins. He's gone 12. I don't think Caleb's going to win the MVP, but Caleb's going to be the reason why they win a lot of football games. And Caleb is a better quarterback right now than Justin Fields. I know Rudy has disagreed with me on that, but I think it is what it is. And if Caleb gets off to a hot start, they're at home, obviously against Tennessee week 1, which I think is a very winnable game. That's the tough one against the Texans on the road. CJ Stroud's kind of flying high. He's picked to potentially win MVP next season. Colts, they got that Rams game. Look, I think they got a good opportunity here.
I think so. And, it's weird that I'm saying it, but somebody mentioned, I think it was Gonzalo, the Panthers can beat the Bears. The Panthers, I think you mentioned it, Gio, they're kind of flying under the radar this year. And I'm starting to watch a little bit of Panthers, training camp, and I mean, yeah, I can definitely see. I don't so much believe in Bryce Young that much yet, but I do see a little bit of improvement for him. So it may take a little while. Again, full disclosure, I hate Caleb Williams to the point where I hope he has a terrible career and all that. It's like I said, I just didn't see him as a number one pick. Is he the best prospect in the NFL draft? That's remained to be certain. I thought there was way better prospects. But if you're the Bears and you're trading your franchise QB in Justin Fields, well, then, yeah, you believe in Caleb Williams. You go and get Caleb Williams. I felt you could have kept the first pick, kept Justin Fields, drafted Williams, and see what happens, man.
Rudy, I just felt like the Bears, remember, they drafted your boy, the quarterback, the boy wonder, right? They don't get Mahomes. They don't get Deshaun Watson. And look, they missed out on, and at the time, Deshaun had, with the Texans, he was playing lights out. I mean, he's playing tremendous. Now, obviously, with the Browns, he's I'm not sure what's going to happen to him this season.
There's no happy ending there.
Yeah, it might not be a happy ending there. But I think the Bears just felt like we can't let this guy go. He's potentially could be a generational talent. We got to get him now. And that's what the Bears did. They decided to go with my decision. Go figure, right?
Yeah, go figure. So, Derek.
Hey, Rudy. Didn't Caleb's best years at USC were what years?
I'm going to let Gio answer that because
it's both his years.
I mean,
do you think he played better last year than he played the previous year?
No, but again, his defense was atrocious.
I'm tired of the
every
defense
time I
talk,
look,
man.
every time I watch a USC game, the team is down by 30. I mean,
but Gio, he overthrew a lot of passes. He overthrew the receivers. Now I'm saying even when they gave him time back in the pocket, he made some bad decisions last year.
Listen, he was pushing a lot. He felt like he had to make those plays, but in the NFL, he's going to have a lot of talent around him that he's not going to have to overcompensate. He's going to have a running game back there. His defense is going to be pretty good, I believe, this season, barring obviously any injuries. You give me all that with Caleb Williams not having to push it because he feels like, hey, my defense is going to give up 40 points anyway. So I think it's a golden opportunity for Caleb. Yeah, listen, was him crying on the sidelines? A lot of people didn't love it. Right, he said some things. Some people didn't like that he painted his nails. Look, this is just the era that we're in today, Rudy. Right? It's different. These guys are a men of their own, and I think Caleb's going to do fine. I don't care about it, all that stuff. I care about what Caleb does on the football field. All that other stuff that he's done, okay, that's a pass. What is the Bears and Shane Waldron doing with him today? And from what I've heard from camp, he's doing pretty well, and I think Bears fans are going to be very happy.
You can't even hit a guy. You can't even touch a guy in camp. Of course, he's going to be doing okay. What's he going to be doing when
I saw Daniel Jones look terrible in camp, Derek. So
why are you deflecting, man?
Take it for what you want, okay?
Why are you deflecting?
Daniel Jones, I hear it throwing picks. Daniel Jones throwing picks when no one's in his face. So go figure that.
Oh,
I like Caleb though. I see them like you, Gio. I see them as a 9-8 or a 10-7 team. I don't know if he's going to ever. I don't see superstardom though. I see a very good quarterback, but I don't think he's going to reach the pinnacle like some of these people are talking like he's going to be the next Peyton Manning or John Elway or Warren Moon. I just don't see that.
To put him in those right now would be injustice to him. He's not there yet. Let's see him progress and let's see what type of season he had. Look, we saw C.J. Stroud, Derek, and I know a lot of people said, well, I knew this. Look, no one thought a Texans roster, which was really bad is just putting it lightly. The year before, and they go on that run, they win a playoff game. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's going to happen this season, but I think it's a good opportunity with what the players. I mean, Keenan Allen. I mean, the receivers they have there, DJ Moore, Cole Clement, the running game. man, I just find it hard to believe you can't get Caleb to just follow that offense, and he's going to use his legs too. Not the most athletic in the world, but he can also go outside the pocket. I saw him, Derek, fumble the ball, pick it up, and throw it like 60, 70 yards.
I guess let me ask you this, and then we'll end the show off with this question. We've said the Bears have a stacked lineup. The offensive side of the ball, I mean, let's be real, it's loaded for any QB to come in there. If he struggles with it, like how many games do you give him if he struggles?
He's a rookie. He should have at least a few years. I mean, Fields had
Keenan Allen doesn't have
5 years,
dude.
No,
DJ Moore doesn't have
But they also drafted another receiver, Rudy, that's going to take the place of Keenan Allen eventually.
Well, yeah, Roma Dunze. But if he can't get it done in the first couple of years, it's Komet, Dunze, and Caleb. Keenan Allen may not be there. DJ Moore may not be there. So it's like, in other words, is it now, next year, never?
I think if you really want to put a strict timetable, I think Bears front office know it's hypothetically probably next season. We got to see what he does.
So no playoffs.
They're not going to, Rudy, they're not going to bench him this season, though.
No,
even if he goes through a rookie wall or whatever, gets off to a slow start, they're all in on Caleb Williams. So he's going to get his opportunity. He just has to be ready and get used to the speed of the NFL. That's going to be as big as adjustment as getting used to the speed. But they're going to give him a chance to succeed or fail.
I think they're better than the Vikings in their division. I think we all can probably say that. Yes. I think they're better than the Vikings. The Lions are the class. I mean, the Packers are right there now, but I think the Lions are the class of the NFC North. And these teams all, I think, going to be clawing. And as a Rams fan, I hope those teams beat up the Lions because clearly Rudy has the Lions over the Rams in the playoffs. So
I actually have the Rams.
Sir.
One, Lions two, but I have the Lions beating the Rams. So
the Lions are right now rated second as far as winning the championship, Gio. You know that, right?
Unless
you got San Francisco 49ers and then the Detroit Lions. Unless
your coach, Derek, decides to do something else with one of his decisions.
We get to get our first Super Bowl that we've ever had.
I'm not backing off just yet. I've got Lions and I've got Jets in the Super Bowl. I've got Lions.
One thing about the NFL is sometimes they'll find ways to humble you. And I've seen a lot of teams that we think throughout time, right, guys? We think, man, that Eagles team, when was it McCoy says, "Oh, we're going to be a superstar team," and then they don't even make the playoffs. But the Lions, though, from what I've seen, they're poised for a Super Bowl run. And as a former as a Rams fan, Jared Goff, I mean, if he wins a Super Bowl, I have nothing but the best love for that guy because for him to take the Rams and to take the Lions, if he wins the Super Bowl with the Lions, I mean, that would be. He would have a day named after him, Derek.
And they would make history because has that ever happened before where you got him and Stafford? You switch up those two quarterbacks and then they both end up winning the Super Bowl?
Not that I know.
I'm trying to think.
I doubt if that's ever happened.
It could be a weird kind of stat. I have to look that up.
We'll look it up and we'll let everybody know here. We'll do some research on it. Little Max saying Vince Young. Yeah, Vince Young's the one that said that they were a dream team in Philadelphia, and we saw how that turned out. That was not so dreamy, that's for sure, in Philadelphia. But again, for me, just finishing up on the Caleb Williams talk. I mean, I really don't expect, to be honest, I don't expect playoffs this year for the Bears. I see improvement, in all honesty. I don't see playoffs, but let's be honest about one thing. We've seen Caleb under pressure, and it hasn't been great. At the NFL level, the pressure is going to be that much more because he's got a team in place that is ready to win now. So if he can't get it done, that pressure is just going to keep mounting and mounting and mounting. And I don't know if he's going to be able to handle that type of pressure. So for me, like I said, never was about his attributes, never was about, his play, anything like that. I never questioned that a whole lot. I questioned the one thing, and that was that thing in between his ears, the mind. I do not believe in his head game. That's just me.
I mean,
that's it. That's my biggest knock on Caleb. That's why I had him at the 4th round right now, because of the mind game. That was it.
But his Heisman season, he went 11-2. I mean, he had 35 touchdowns, 3 or 4 interceptions. I mean, that was his first year at USC. His mind looked pretty good there, Rudy.
But then what happened? He comes into the next year and it's a struggle. And you saw he wasn't able to handle the pressure.
I thought he still played tremendous. I mean, his stats, though, his senior year, even with even more pressure and USC just not playing well. And I'm not saying that Caleb is not at fault for any of those games, but I thought Caleb Williams, for what he was still given, played particularly well. I just think what is seeing in people's heads is some of his comments, and then obviously some of his demeanor. The cameras put into his faces at all times, it looks like. And hey, he's still a young kid. He's still learning, but I still believe in Caleb Williams.
We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens with Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. We're not done talking football. We've got our college football preview. We've got our NFL preview. That's going to continue now until we get the season started. Season's right around the corner. We're going to do some NFL breakdowns for you guys here throughout the next few days, all the way up until the season starts. And when the season starts, we'll be dropping a lot of NFL talk as well as college football talk, waiting for the NBA to come around, also the World Series MLB playoffs. So we'll have a lot to talk about here in the next few months. But nonetheless, we did talk about some Dallas Cowboy talk with CeeDee Lamb. What are your thoughts on that? Be sure to hit us up on the X. It's at Sweep the League. You can hit up Gio. It's at Coach Gio. That's double-O at the end. Also, you want to hit us up on Facebook. Derek Irvin's on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. So is Coach Gio as well. Go to YouTube. All you got to do is go to YouTube, search at Sweep the League TV. Be a subscriber. Join us on there. Shout out to everybody on the stream tonight. 164 of you strong tonight with the live stream with us. Appreciate all the love that we are getting here. Again, the more subscribers we get, the more we can give away. We're trying to open the vault. I kind of cracked the vault open a little bit, but when we get to 1K, the vault door completely opens, and then all the prizes start trickling out. All the cash starts coming out as well. So I'll be sure to get us to 1K on YouTube.
Rudy.
What's up, bud?
I'm sorry. Can we get off? Can I tell some of them about me doing, I do my YouTube like every 3 or 4 days. You can go on if you want to talk to me on YouTube away from this show. I don't mind interacting with you. All you do is go to Derek Gervin, former NBA player, and I'm on YouTube. I would love to spend time with you. But once again, this is the show right here that I'm on, and I enjoy being on here with Gio and Rudy, and I think we're going to continue to ascend. This is going to be the best show in the country, if we aren't already.
I think we're climbing some charts. That is for sure. I don't doubt about that. But he's right. I mean, we are in the little bit of time that we've actually been on our own, and we branded ourselves and went on our own. We've actually grown by a lot, and it's all because of you guys out there. Also because of our great sponsors in MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea, La Cocina Taco Truck, and Castro and Sons Solar. You guys are what's making all this go. So we appreciate every single one of you guys, and also appreciate all the listeners out there. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Until we sweep the league again tomorrow, for Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, for Coach Gio, it's Rudy Campos Jr. We will see you guys tomorrow. Y'all be safe.